it doesn't matter.
สวัสดีค่ะ everyone.
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ครับ
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์
Okay.
ครับอาจารย์
สวัสดีครับ
And Alberto, Jotica, Abby. I think we can start. So perhaps Nina, you'd like to start, and then we'll have Tin's question a little bit later.
I try, but I may be disturbed by home care, but it doesn't matter.
That's why I thought you better try first before they come.
Yeah. Well, I've mentioned to Sarah, I have a lot about the house, worries, and thinking about it. And then I hear about seeing a visible object. And it is a relief to hear about realities. It seems so simple, seeing these visible object. But it is really, we have to hear it a lot before we really understand. And we also heard no self does not mean no Jyotika, no Sarah, no table that is touched. And that is perhaps a difficult point for some people, that no self doesn't mean nothing, there is nothing. So it's good if Ajahn could elaborate a little on this point.
Beginning to see the subtlety of the teachings of the Buddha about the truth of what is there exactly now. Because it's there, but it's not known before. We are used to remember that word, the term for it, like there is a reality which experiences an object, see? But how much understanding of that which is there now, every moment in life? No thought about it. At moment of touching, it's there, experiencing hardness. At moment of hearing, it's there. When sound appears, it experiences sound, so it's there. But no place, no shape, no form for it, just experiencing sound. So now sound is there heard. What hear it? A reality which experiences sound, no matter the sound is soft or very loud and so on. It's there any moment of whatever appears. It appears as it's so very weak or very strong. And what experiences that? The nature which arises to be the chief of experiencing what is there as it really is. But no one has thought about it at all. It's there all the time, even right now, no matter what appears. That's why learning to understand that which experiences until think about moment when nothing appears at all. Is there such reality? It's there, never absent at all, from birth, any moment, no matter the object of experiencing is there appearing or not. For example, right now, there are moments when, what is that? What is that? It means that that is not known as it is. And it's not just that reality which experiences it, because it does not appear. The reality which experiences the object, which conditions the thinking of what is that, it's not known. But doubt is there. What is it? Even so, when there's no thinking about it, it's I all the time. Whatever is there experiencing, it's I all the time. That's why we learn to understand the nature of that which now experiences whatever is there. When there is no forgetfulness about this, there can be at moment of touching, it's there. The reality which experiences touching has to be there, experiencing the object. When sound appear, or when smell appear, when the taste appear, it's there. Otherwise, the taste or whatever it appears cannot appear at all. Only that in life, beginning to learn about that which no matter the object appears or not, like moment of being fast asleep, it's there. Otherwise, what is meant by birth, it's there, arising, experiencing, but the object is not known. Beginning to understand the difference between Viti Citta and Viti Mutta Citta, Vimutti Citta. Because Citta is different by conditions. When nothing impinges on the ideas, there can never be the moment of the reality which experiences the object which is not known or appear yet. But when it appears, it changes. It cannot experience the object which it always experiences the unknown object to experience that which impinges on it. So it appears as different color or different shape or light or darkness or whatever is there. And then after that, it's gone. The moment of experiencing is there, but the object is not known in between. And we learn to understand this is the way life really is. But we have to understand each reality in order to understand the different moments of experiencing the object through the six doorways, or it does not appear, does not experience the object which appear through the six doorways. That's all. Learning to understand it's there now. Together all the time of what appear, no matter morning or night or any time, it's there. But the object of experiencing is different. That's why there are different cittas, different moments of experiencing the object, and then gone, just arise, experiencing an object and then gone. So very rapidly until it cannot be realized, like now, just one moment of seeing, but how many things which appears without citta experiencing it, it cannot appear at all. That's why learning to attend to the characteristic of a reality which experiences what is there appearing. The beginning of pariyatti, not just remember the word, but beginning to attend to the characteristic which is there, unknown before. When if we don't talk about it, who knows that it's there? Because the object appears. When object of seeing is there appearing, the seeing does not appear, but it experiences the object until when it appears, nothing appears with it. Is that right? But as long as something appearing, no matter sound or sight or smell, citta does not appear, but it experiences that which appears. It takes quite a long time with patience and virya and satya and nekama, all kinds of kusala, to condition moment of beginning to let go what we are used to take it for something or like it so much, to see that it's not worthwhile at all because there's no understanding of the nature of it. That's why right understanding is the most precious reality which arises and falls away. Now, a reality which sees is there. Sound appear, the reality which experiences sound is there. In order that one day the reality which experiences the object appear, it means that without the object that it appears, that it experiences, can it be a little more understanding of what is there? Is there no shape, no form, just experiencing what is there appearing, no matter what moment, any object, never absent. Is there now so close? We learn a lot about many things outside, further and further away. But what is there so close? That which is hardness is there. And the reality which experiences the hardness is there too. It's there. So very short, just being the chief of experiencing the characteristic of that which appears. So what appears is different. Even colors or taste. One moment is different from the other. Never be the same. All gone. Never to return. Sunyata, anatta. Each moment of life. They're seeing now, and we're talking about the seeing, not the object which is seen, little by little. In order not to forget the characteristic which is now experiencing hardness or sound or sight or whatever in life which appears, there must be that reality which arises and experience the object as a truth. Otherwise, the characteristic of the object cannot be known as it's different from the other. Without understanding it will not appear at all. Because it appears to the right understanding which understands it. Otherwise, it's moment when it's there, but no understanding. For example, the moment before seeing, moment before hearing, it's there. Even while one is fast asleep, there must be the reality which arises and experiences the unknown object until waking up. What is there different from that which is there when was the moment of being fast asleep? By conditions. And it begins to the moment of thinking about it, that it's there now, at moment of what appears. Otherwise, it's forgotten. And this is pariyati, understanding what is there. There cannot be only the object which appears. There must be the reality which experiences that which appears. Only that which appears.
As you were saying at the beginning, Nina, without understanding of what life is now, seeing now, a moment of experiencing one after the other, there are always going to be worries about one topic after another because we live in a dream world. So if it's not the cleaners, it's the house or the situation in Ukraine or whatever we heard on the news or what will happen to me or what happened yesterday. So one worry after another when there's no understanding of what life is just at this very moment now. And that's why I think it's so helpful, as Ajahn was saying, to remember that at each moment there is the citta, which is the chief in experiencing And without understanding, there's doubt all the time about what is there. And there's the idea of I all the time when there's no wise considering. So on your topic about whether there is a Sarah or a Jyotika, conventionally, of course, this is Sarah, this is Jyotika, this is Ajahn. But when there is understanding of what is true at this moment, it's just seeing, it's just hearing. No one here, no one there at all. Just in the thinking, just in the story that is thought about this person or that person. But actually at this moment, life just comes down to moments of seeing and hearing and thinking, different moments of experiencing different realities appearing through the sense doors, and then thinking about all kinds of dreams and stories about different people, all kinds of worries about this and that person, this and that thing, this and that situation. So as you said, the only remedy is understanding right now.
And without that reality, nothing appears at all. So all depends on that which is achieved of experiencing whatever is there, anytime, every time. Without it, see, so it begins to understand that it has to be that reality from the beginning of life to the end. And as there are conditions for the moment when it is conditioned to arise, after death, it arises by conditions, just like the first moment of this life. When there is firm confidence of the truth, it can condition moment of beginning to attain to what is there. Even it's just a moment of hardness appearing, it's the beginning of understanding the difference between that which is hard and that which is there experiencing hardness. So hardness appears. So it can be attended anytime when there is a little more understanding that it's there. At any moment of what is there appearing, it's there. Now the different objects appears, so it means a different citta, not the same citta, arises and experiences that object. A moment of seeing is a moment of the citta which experiencing what is there. And then after that, never to arise again. It conditions another moment of different citta, which does not see to be the moment of hearing or thinking, on and on. That's why citta is different by conditions, by aramana, paccaya as well. So very short, very rapid in life, every life. The truth cannot be changed. It's there now. This moment is different from previous moments.
Would you like to add anything else, Nina, or that's everything?
It's more that we are so forgetful. We have to hear again, and then we forget that it is gone immediately. It seems that all things we experience, all the worries, that they last, that are lasting things. We are just forgetful.
It's true, not enough firm understanding, so always carried away by this and that story, like a stuck record keeps coming back to this and that situation or this or that problem because of not enough firm understanding about what is true at this moment. It's like that for everyone.
We can, no self who can change that.
No.
Not possible. You would like to change that, but it's impossible because it's anatta.
And even whilst worrying and thinking about this or that situation, there can be understanding popping in at any time, understanding that these are just different dhammas that are conditioned, moments of thinking, moments of worry, moments of seeing, moments of hearing, just arising and falling away one at a time. And as Ajahn stressed, if there is not citta at each moment, then there couldn't be any object, anything appearing. So even at those times, there can be understanding, always back to now. And we can smile and laugh at these, how actually it's quite comical that we're lost in these stories about what is just an idea, not even anything to do with the truth, taking it as so important, taking it for being real, but actually it's just a fantasy in the mind. Worrying about what will happen tomorrow, when even now, no understanding, no knowing what will arise next, whether it will be seeing or hearing or thinking, each one conditioned. And usually behind it, there's the idea that I need to do something. I should change it or make something happen. But this moment of seeing now is conditioned. No one can do anything about it. The thinking now is conditioned. No one can change it. There's no one there to do anything at all. And this actually comes back to the topic that Jyotika was mentioning just at the end of the discussion last time. And we said we would discuss it a bit more, because I think, Jyotika, you mentioned at one point that you were glad that you were no longer working because there's no I to do anything. But it's actually the truth, no matter what the situation, no matter working or not working, at home or at school, in the forest or in the city. There are just different moments of seeing, hearing, thinking, and so on. So it doesn't mean that anything changes in the conventional sense. We still go to work, we still cook lunch, we still go shopping, but in truth, no one there that does anything. There are just different realities arising and falling away. So understanding doesn't mean not working or not being busy or not going out with friends as usual. It just means whatever the time, whatever the occasion, there's a little more understanding of the truth that there is no one. There are just different cittas arising and falling away, experiencing their object, gone at each moment. So the outward appearance doesn't change, it's just the understanding that develops.
Inside I feel difference. Inside it's not I who can do something, who is doing something. It is more like I don't know, this bunch of qualities are working together or something.
Because
It's,
however hard you look, no I that can be found at all.
yeah. But this morning, I discovered that also the experiencer, the one who is experiencing is not me. Ook de experiencer is not me. It is the Sita who is experience.
So the seeing is the experiencer of what
Yeah,
is seen. The hearing is the experiencer.
but that's
Just
the next.
the chitta and the Chaitasikas are the only realities that experience. No one there to experience anything, no matter whether one is ruling the country or whether one's sitting quietly at home. It's just the same. The truth is just the same.
Spontaneous, I would say, it's unbelievable, but it is.
It's true. And each one arises by conditions, not by anyone's will, because no one to have any will at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it is this understanding that lets go of the burden of the imaginary I that should be able to control, should be able to change, should be able to do this and that. It's a big burden in life. So the understanding lets go of that burden little by little.
Yeah, that's what I meant with not doing so much.
It's actually not just not doing so much, nothing can be done. That's the right way.
No, nothing can be done. Not doing so much, but a bit less doing. Not doing. Nothing can be done. Nothing can be done.
No, actually, nothing can be done. Nothing. All are Dhamma by condition. Not that anyone can do. No doing.
Nothing can be done by I, an imaginary I. Like in the case example Nina gave, when there's worrying about what should be done and what will happen tomorrow and what one should arrange. But actually the thinking is conditioned, and it depends on the thinking and the memory, what arises at that moment, what it thinks about, but no I that can do anything or change it. Each moment is conditioned. Each reality is conditioned.
Is there an influencing from the conditions?
At each moment. So the conditions influence the moment of seeing now, the hearing now, the thinking now, the kindness now, the annoyance now. Each reality is conditioned,
But
influenced by those conditions.
Yeah.
Jyotika, when you talk about conditions, we're talking about realities. There are, at any given moment, there are realities that condition and there are realities that are being conditioned. So they are all equally fleeting. They arise and fall away in that moment and gone. It's not like there are conditions waiting for something else to happen, but it's each moment is different conditions coming together. But
also it doesn't matter if we do our best or not. Is there from our side something like influencing the conditioning the conditions?
the thing is, you have to understand that there is no me anywhere, just different realities, different moments, different realities.
Nothing else than that.
Seeing now is condition. It's one reality, one kind of reality that experiences visible object. And thinking now is another reality, another moment. It's a reality that experiences concepts, thinks about concepts. Just moment of life. Life is just these realities, one after the other, rising and falling away. And as Achan lately likes to remind us that even when nothing appears, at that time there's the reality of chitta. There's always chitta that experiences, has an object that experiences all the time. So that's what life is, one chitta after the other.
Even now at this moment of speaking, the thinking is conditioned. The intention to make sounds is conditioned. The sounds themselves are conditioned by the citta. The thinking about the meanings is conditioned. So each reality at each moment is conditioned right now. So it's nothing from my side, because there is no my side. What we take for being my side is the thinking now, the different intentions now, the sounds uttered now, or the thinking about what is heard now. Just different dhammas arising by their conditions and falling away moment to moment.
Yeah.
And the Buddha did mention things that do influence conditions, and they are called the factors for enlightenment, or the factors for developing understanding. And they include what is hopefully happening at the present moment, and that is the opportunity to hear the Buddha's description of the way things are in reality, as opposed to how we've always taken them to be. And also one's accumulated interest in coming to have a better understanding of the way things are, because one appreciates the importance, the significance of correctly understanding how the world is at the present moment, rather than just taking it to be the way one has always taken it to be. And those two factors themselves will condition reflection over not just at the time of having the opportunity to hear the Dhamma discussed, but also over the following period. And it happens naturally. One doesn't have to do anything. One considers and reflects on what one has heard naturally, without even sometimes being aware that there is that reflection going on in the back of one's mind. We know from our own experience in life that this is often how problems, daily conventional problems, are resolved, aren't they? Suddenly the solution comes to one's mind, and one wasn't aware that it had been something that was occupying one's thinking time, but because of conditions, it was happening. And it's the same for the Dhamma. If there is the interest accumulated and there is the opportunity to hear the correct explanation of the Buddha's teaching, then that reflection is going to happen. And so there's not a need to do anything from our side at all, because what is necessary is already happening by naturally by conditions. But it's a matter of appreciating that and having confidence that, because the Buddha said those are the factors that will bring fruition in due course, having the confidence to let it be that way rather than try to push it further or faster or deeper, then there are conditions for it to be at the present time. And I think all of us have had the experience of the very slow beginning when first hearing that the Buddha's teaching truly explained. The first bit takes a long time to get the hang of what is being said, but after a while, when that has become more firmly established and what at first seemed so radical becomes more, more acceptable, then that is the base for going forward further. But it has to take its own time to happen.
One thing to remember is, Jyotika, that the trying is actually going the opposite way. So every time we have the idea of wanting to get results and doing something about it, it's instead of having more understanding and going in the right direction, we are actually going in the opposite direction.
Also with the reflection. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Jyotika.
I mean, I understood from you, Jonathan, that reflection reflection is, yeah, I have to say, is important. Or
Yes.
is a good thing to do. Good thing to do.
The reflection is something that happens, not something that one does.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it happens, but it happens without me. But there is a choice. I can hear, I can come, and I cannot come. I can sit here, and I cannot sit here.
Mm-hmm.
That is the decision, and the decision is the decision. The decision maker is not me. Then it's just decision.
Well, we know that decisions can be changed from 1 minute to the next, can't they? One can decide one's going to attend the next discussion, and then for whatever reason, it's not possible, or change of mind or whatever. Just a decision is just another moment of thinking. So we shouldn't give it too much emphasis or importance. And if we do attend a discussion, it's by conditions, including what we take to be a decision on our part. But that's just another moment of thinking.
Jyotika, I want to saying that, like when we saying that, oh, I decide to do this, I decide to do that, it's actually conventionally speaking, but to represent that there's actually a Dhamma, there's no one. When we saying, I decide to sit also, it's chitta, it's just a consciousness, that thing is when we say I in that way, we conventionally speak to represent the Dhamma. Actually, there's no I, there's no one that think, no one that choose and all that. Yeah, so that's maybe the point that you might, yeah.
Like now, there's the idea, I am here, I have come here. What is the reality? What is the truth? When one says, I am here.
There is hearing.
Hearing, the seeing.
Hearing from the Dhamma, there's discussion.
Hearing of the sounds. Thinking about the meaning of what is heard. Thinking about, I am here. But if there's no thinking about, I am here, where is the I that is here?
Yeah, there's thinking about, I am here, but
yes,
I know.
I came here. If there's no thinking about I came here, was there any I that came here?
No.
So it's just the world of thinking, the world of ideas that is thought about, that the conditions, the idea, I am here, or I came here, or I had a choice to come here, but actually just different moments of thinking about I coming here or going there, sitting or standing. So this is why we come back to consider more about citta now, the chief in experiencing, the seeing, the hearing, the liking, the thinking, even in sleep, one citta after another experiencing the object, accompanied by different cetasikas. If there was no citta, there would be no experiencing. There would be no idea about I am here or I am there. So that's why the understanding has to get closer and closer to this moment, because otherwise, as Hajit said, it's just conventional ideas about I deciding to come here or I thinking about going there, but it's not the understanding of the truth that the Buddha taught. And as Nina said at the start, there has to be the listening again and again, because the truth is so deep and so subtle. Not like when we first read the Satipatthana Sutta and think that it's just about being aware of moving one's hand or walking here or there. It doesn't need a Buddha for this kind of thinking. So the Buddha's truth is very deep, because it's about the truth that all dhammas are anatta, no one there at all, no one that decided to come here, no one that went this way or that way, but just different cittas, cetasikas and rupas arising by conditions and falling away.
Sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu.
And Tin, I think you had a question you'd like to bring up today. Would you like to go ahead?
Hello, yes, please. So for today, I have a question about Hiri and Ottappa. So my question is how can we understand the difference between Hiri, Ottappa and simple like aversion, like akusala dhamma, aversion and attachment? Because I grew up with the belief of like, if we do bad things, we go to hell, and then if we do good things, we go to heaven. So there's like a strong attachment to being a good person, so that I could like end up without pain or suffering. So when there's like an event or situation where like I have harmed someone or animal in like an accidental way, the thoughts that comes after that is that, oh no, I'm gonna go to hell, I'm gonna suffer for this. And then there are also thoughts about worrying about others pain and suffering that I have caused. So like my question is, are these any of these thoughts hiri or ottappa, or are they all akusala, like attachment and aversion?
But when there's fear and worry about what will happen to me, will I go to hell because of this and that? What kind of thinking is that? Is it wholesome or unwholesome?
It's most likely unwholesome, because it's concerning about self, where the self
Right.
will be in the future.
Thinking, clinging to oneself, worrying about what will happen to me, no kindness or consideration for others, no understanding at those moments. So definitely it's there will be the opposite of hiri and ottappa, ahiri and anottappa. There will be no shame about the akusala of those moments, no wholesome fear of, of the consequences, because there is the clinging and the thinking about oneself. So at the moment of accidentally harming the insect, no wish to harm, no wish to hurt. So why think about it? Why worry about the consequence? Just accumulating more akusala. And so whenever one's so concerned about what will happen to me, will I go to heaven? Will I go? It's all the story about a self. It's not the understanding of Dhamma at all. What do you think, Jin?
I still don't really have there's not much understanding about these two, theory and Ottappa. Could you explain
Yes.
about
So now at a moment of kindness or consideration, no clinging, no thought of harming the other, or at a moment of understanding. The citta is kusala. So at those moments, hiri and ottappa, these wholesome cetasikas, arise, because they arise with all wholesome cittas. At those moments, there is the seeing the shame of akusala. There is kusala that protects from akusala at those very moments. The opposite of when there is clinging to oneself, attachment, worry about this or that. At those moments, there is no concern, no shame about akusala, no seeing the harm of the akusala, no concern about the consequences of accumulating akusala at those very moments. But the main point is that they're just conditioned dhammas, and it's very different. Understanding what is wholesome and unwholesome, kusala and akusala, is very different from thinking about the stories and the situations of when one kills the insect and the worry afterwards, because this is a long story. What about now? What about understanding now that there are just different moments of seeing, hearing, kusala, akusala, each one conditioned, each one not self, arising and falling away. And if we try to pinpoint, try to work out at this very moment, is it kusala or akusala? Is there hiri and ottappa or the opposite? Then there's clinging again, trying to catch it, different from just understanding what appears at this moment.
I mean, Tin, I'm sure that there have been moments in your daily life where there's restraint from, say, killing a mosquito or speaking harshly to someone. And it's not preceded by the idea that, oh, I shouldn't be lying, I shouldn't be talking badly, or I shouldn't be killing because I'll go to hell. It's just at that moment, there's just that slight inclination to see the harm in akusala acts, right?
Because when we think that, oh, I'm going to hell, I don't do this, is fear for one own self. You don't want to born in hell. No, don't want painful or any harm. It's with attachment and anger. So it's akusala.
Thank you. And also, like, so is hiri and ottappa like a kind of fear? Is it fear? No.
I don't like the word fear. Fear is, I was thinking there should be a word other than fear to describe
So like
ottappa.
shame.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's not fear as we otherwise have, which is aversion. So,
Right.
yeah.
Tin, I have just a shorthand way of thinking of the difference. I don't know if it would be helpful, but I think hiri is knowing that it's wrong, that akusala is wrong, and otapa is of some appreciation of what could be the consequences of wrongdoing. So hiri is the sense that, okay, it's not right to do that. It's harmful to other people, myself.
I see.
And otapa is realizing what can be the consequences of performing akusala deeds.
I'm not sure. Maybe I can put it this way. It's like hiri is a shameful fullness of akusala, and the otapa is fearfulness of the consequences of akusala. But I'm not sure whether I'm saying correctly or not.
Yes, I think as Sukin said, the word fear, it sort of always sounds like something unwholesome. So seeing the danger or the harm, understanding the harm of the akusala in a wholesome way, the wholesome shame of wrongdoing, like if one hurts the insect, there is the moment, there is the moments of kusala, then there is the shame of akusala at moments of wholesomeness, and there is the seeing of the danger of the consequences of akusala. But it's not a matter of the words or language, but understanding at those moments.
Right. Can it arise with? Can those wholesome Jaitasika arise with unpleasant Vedana?
Impossible, because unpleasant Vedana always arises with akusala. We're not talking about the experiencing through the body sense, but when the unpleasant mental feeling arises, the domanassa, it's always with dosa. So whenever there is agitation or worry or concern about heaven and hell, then for sure it's dosa. No hiri, no otapa at those moments.
Right.
No wholesome concern about the akusala. So that because of the story, we may think that it's wholesome. Oh, I'm so concerned about the animal and the insect, and that was just harmed, or about what happens in the world, or what will happen to this and that, my family, and so when they're sick. But when it's unpleasant feeling, it's all thinking with dosa.
Right.
But of course, there can be a mixture of kusala and akusala. When I say mixture, they can alternate. So there can be some moments of kusala and many moments of akusala intermingled with each other, so that the predominant feeling is unpleasant. But nevertheless, there can still be some kusala there also. Not possible for us to know these fine differences, and actually we shouldn't be too worried about whether it's kusala or akusala, because that's not the development of the path. The development of the path is just having a better understanding of any reality appearing at the present moment. So if what predominates is the unpleasant feeling, then that might be the object,
Right.
that awareness takes, but not by our choice.
And so what about now, Tin? What's the reality now?
Reality now. There's so many, but mostly akusala. Because before I was busy with work, I study a lot about Dhamma. So there's a lot thinking about Dhamma, and now I have to go back to work, and it goes to show how less understanding there is each day.
Because when we're thinking about, oh, what happened when I hurt the insect and what I was thinking about, I mean, this is just the story about something that happened, but what about now? Because whether going to work or not, the seeing now, the hearing now, thinking now. So understanding what is now, thinking about what is hiri, what is ottappa. Even the thinking now can be understood as a Dhamma that is conditioned, not my thinking. So understanding what is appearing now is more precious than working out the story about what was the reality yesterday when I hurt the insect.
Right. Yes, for sure.
Coming back.
Thank you very much, everyone,
Mhm.
for explaining.
And Dara, I'm glad to see that you've come again. So we've been mentioning a few Pali terms, which it's difficult to follow. Is there anything from the discussion last week or anything today you would like to ask about, or any topic that you had?
You didn't open.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for asking, Sarah. I think it's just going to take me a while to really grapple with it before I can ask any intelligent questions.
Did you find it interesting last week, or was it a bit overwhelming and confusing?
Interesting and confusing. I had a lot of questions for Shanti, so she's helped me a lot.
Okay, that's great. Glad to hear it.
Thank you.
And when we were discussing with Jyotika, I don't know if you were here then, about how difficult it is to understand that actually there's no one here to do anything. There are just different moments of experiencing which are conditioned, different namas that experience an object, different rupas that don't experience anything, but no one that to be aware, no one to understand, no one to focus, no one to make decisions. Is this difficult?
Yeah, I think that's the most difficult.
And especially if one comes from a background when one's used to following certain steps or certain practices or going to particular places, to hear and begin to consider, like Jyotika finds that no one who does anything, no one who comes here, no one who goes anywhere, but these different dhammas just arising and falling by conditions, takes a lot of careful considering.
So it's just it's consciousness.
It's just one moment of consciousness at a time, which we call citta. So one citta at a moment, one after the other, moments of seeing, moments of hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, each one arising by conditions, experiencing its particular object and falling away instantly. So no eye that is experiencing anything, no eye that is seeing or hearing or touching or thinking. So even when it seems I made a decision to come here, it's actually just thinking at this moment about that idea, and then it's gone. If there's no idea about I sitting here, where is the I that is sitting here? If there's no thinking about one's home, where is the home? So actually, the seeing is conditioned, the thinking is conditioned, and the idea that is thought about is just the object of thinking, that's all.
Okay. So if everything else falls away, all there is the moment.
Yes, and when we say everything, we have to be more precise to know what is everything. So seeing, at the moment of seeing, is everything. That is the world, and it falls away. Hearing, at the moment of hearing, is everything, and it falls away. because there's only one moment of experiencing at a time. And what
Wow.
we're used to thinking of everything like the table, the chair, the people all around are just the objects of thinking.
Because there's only one at one moment thinking or seeing.
That's right, exactly. One moment of experiencing at a time, and it's supported by many mental factors. So at each moment of experiencing, there is a feeling that is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. There is concentration, which focuses on one object for the chitta to experience. There is the passa, which contacts the object, and so on. And we were just talking about wholesome and unwholesome moments of consciousness. Yeah. So moments of unwholesome consciousness, then unwholesome mental factors like attachment or aversion and ignorance arise together with that moment of consciousness, the citta, and experience the object and fall away. So it's not my unwholesomeness or bad deed or my goodness, my understanding. Nothing belongs to you or me or anyone. So there are just these different cittas arising, experience the object, falling away, accompanied by different mental factors. So it's very much deeper than we used to think. The Buddha's teachings are very, very deep because they're about the truth of anatta. All dharmas are anatta, no one there to be found.
And can you condition the moment, what comes up at the moment, like the wholesome or the unwholesome?
Like now, can you make wholesome cittas arise? Can you make goodness arise now by will?
No.
Can you stop having any disturbing thoughts? Can you stop having any attachment to what is seen or heard now?
No.
No, because each reality, each moment of goodness, each moment of disturbance is conditioned by previous habits and tendencies and accumulations and ignorance. So in truth, there's no one to be found, no one that can control even this moment of seeing, no one who can decide what seeing will see now, what hearing will hear now, what kind of thought will arise now. Each one arises by different conditions. For example, for the seeing now, there has to be the visible object that's impinged on the eye sense to condition the seeing to arise. For the hearing, there has to be the sound that's impinged on the ear sense in order for hearing to hear that sound. So it's not by my choice or your choice. And the thinking in a good way or a bad way, it just depends on different habits and tendencies and different memories as to what the thinking will think about and whether it will think in a good or a bad way at this moment.
And is that not good to have a good habit, to think in a good way?
Of course, it's very good to have a good habit, but it's not by I making that habit be good, but by considering, reflecting, understanding a little more about what is good and what is bad, by understanding a little more that I cannot control it. It is a condition for good habits to develop. For example, if one has never heard about the difference between kindness and metta, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and friendliness to others, as opposed to attachment and clinging because it's just my child or my friend, then the habit of kindness won't develop. There won't be the understanding of what the quality is. So the considering, the understanding, the wise reflecting, these are the conditions for good habits to develop, but not by I doing anything.
I just add that it may seem at times that unwholesome thoughts can be replaced by wholesome thoughts, but the question is whether those thoughts that replace the unwholesome ones are really wholesome thoughts, or they're just relatively less unwholesome or seemingly less unwholesome than the ones that have been replaced. And I think the example Sarah gave of knowing the difference between pure kindness, which doesn't discriminate as to the recipient, and being kind out of attachment to those that are dear to one or that one likes. We just have no way of being able to distinguish the wholesome from the unwholesome. So we're really just assuming that the unwholesome is being replaced by the wholesome in those situations, and thereby unwittingly just continuing to develop more unwholesomeness.
And also I'd like to add that you can see that there is a difference between understanding and the idea I understand, or kindness and I am kind. You come to see, you can understand that the latter is in fact unwholesome.
If it was possible for I to make wholesomeness arise and habits to be good all the time, why not make it good all the time, all day, every day? Why have any anger or attachment arising? Because the truth is that I cannot do anything. I cannot make any reality arise. But through understanding, especially the understanding, as Sukin mentioned, that it's not my kindness, not my goodness, not my anything, gradually there can be the development of what is good, but not by clinging or trying or wishing for it. As I think he said earlier, the trying to do, the trying to have results, the trying to understand, the trying to be aware has the opposite effect. Perhaps Sujan would like to add some comments to some of these discussions.
What is the most precious moment in life? What is the most precious moment in life?
Jan, would you like to ask Dara or Jyotika, or who would you like to ask?
Anyone.
Anyone?
Anyone who think about it. What is the most precious moment?
Definitely the understanding now.
Understanding.
And is it understood?
Not yet.
Talk about it at all. So even what is there now is a very precious moment of understanding. What is there now?
Thinking.
Ignorance.
So, the most precious moment is understanding what is thinking, because thinking is there. And the most precious moment is understanding the truth of what is there as it is, which hasn't been known before. Different moments, different reality, not permanent, all gone. Is that true? Each moment is just like this. By conditions, not at will. It's there and gone. And each moment is like that. Is the truth? Whatever is there gone. From nothing, there's something, and then nothing again. So to experience that which hasn't been experienced, and then experienced, and then all gone. Is that precious? No seeing, and then seeing, and then no seeing again. No hearing, and then there is hearing, and no hearing again. Where were they? Where were they?
That's
They
painful.
be found. What is gone? Never be the same at all. Different noise, different appearing all the time. Is that true? And this is and what is that? Is it true? What is the truth of it? It's gone without any understanding from moment to moment. Is that worthwhile? Just experiencing and then no more. On and on and on, all the time, each moment. So what is that? No one or someone. What is that? Is it worthwhile to understand it? And no
Right.
understand it at all, no matter what is there from time to time. And can it be known as it is? Is there hiri and otapa, or ahirika and anotapa? They are there from time to time, unknown. And when it's there, it's not known. But there can be a moment of talking about it in order to understand it when it's there as it is. We have talked about seeing. Is there any understanding of seeing which sees now as it is? heard about it, and it's there to be known directly. Hiri and Ottappa, are they there? If Buddha didn't realize the truth of whatever is there, no one knows the truth of it at all. What is not known as they are at all. Even just very short answer for what is seeing and what is hearing and what is thinking, it's not enough to understand the truth of it, but it's there to be studied, to be learned about the truth of it little by little, because they are there all in lifetime, from moment to moment. That's why we talk about it little by little to understand the truth of it. And at the moment it is Hiri and Ottappa to understand the truth. To see the danger and no shame of no understanding at all of what is there as it is. So we learn to listen to the truth of it little by little, to have confidence of the truth, whether what is heard is true or not. At moment of seeing, is there anyone? And when it's gone, where's that? Which we think that it's I who sees. That can be studied little by little to have a little more confidence of the truth. Is there I, or someone, or something, or there are only different realities appearing and disappearing by conditions? And this is the meaning of what the world is. If nothing arises at all, there cannot be any world. There cannot be anything at all. But whatever arises is conditioned to arise. No one can make it arise at all. Like seeing now, at moment of thinking and talking, there is seeing. How come? For seeing, to see and see and see and see, with thinking in between, hearing in between, and other realities in between, unknown. But it can be known, to have firm confidence of the truth. Actually, what is there is very, very short, not permanent at all. So there cannot be anyone permanent or permanent thing. And what is not permanent is so very, very short, very, very rapidly arising and falling away. That's why it seems like there are many different things at this very moment. But in truth, just one moment of what appears, just only one at a time. In truth, is that true or not? Just begin to understand the truth of what is there in life in a moment. Otherwise, no Hiri, no Ottappa, not seeing the danger of living without any understanding of whatever is there by conditions in life. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, every reality in life is conditioned to be different ones. So what is taken for I is just arising and falling away. Can it be I or anyone because it's gone forever? never to arise again. Just consider the truth of life and begin to understand just one reality at a time, to have firm confidence of the truth that what is what cannot be changed. Seeing arises, it sees. It cannot be hearing because it's conditioned by the eye and that which impinges on it. And there must be the reality, which is different from the eye and the visible objects or sound or smell, because it arises to experience. Its reality is a reality which is there by conditions. It cannot arise at will because actually what is will? A reality. Again, what is that? It's a reality. It has its own characteristic and its own function. When it appears different because by conditions, it cannot be the same. The smell cannot be changed to be the taste of visible object. There must be conditions for whatever arises to be different too from moment to moment. The moment of seeing is not the moment of hearing. Why not? By conditions. Now seeing has a reason. Can anyone stop its arising? To see, impossible. That's why what is there is only the absolute realities, which is conditioned to arise from moment to moment, different one, from birth to death, from life to life, on and on, as long as there are conditions for whatever arises. Is that true? Just beginning to consider the truth of what is hidden in life, each moment, unknown, that there is a reality arising, experiencing what appears now. Otherwise, it cannot appear whatever appears now without that which experiences it. For example, when there's no seeing, no eye, no conditions for seeing to arise, no world of sight, no one can imagine what is seen when there is seeing only. Without seeing, how can that be seen? Sound is there when there is a reality which arises and experiences it. Not see it, but hear it. Different realities, but both are the realities which arise to experience an object by conditions. No one at all can make it arise because actually there are different realities arising and falling away by conditions. No eye. Seeing right now is a reality arising to see and then gone. No matter when it sees again, it's conditioned again by that which impinges on the eye base, and the eye base is conditioned by so many different conditions. So very, very complex until we learn to understand that which is complex, to be known what are the different realities, and then gone. So how can it be someone or something? Hardness is hardness, no matter whenever it's touched. But when it's not touched, who can hardness appear without any touching at all? So it appears to a reality which experiences it. It does not appear to the idea of I at all, because without touching, can that which is soft or hard appears impossible. That's why learn to understand each conditioned moment, that is just in a moment and then gone, never to arise again. Is that true? Just have the understanding, the firm understanding, firmer and firmer, gradually to get closer. because it's so close. That which experiences is there now. At moment of touching any part of the body, it's there, experiencing that. No seeing, no hearing at moment of touching at all. Just one moment at a time in life, by conditions. Learning to understand the truth that actually what we take for someone or something are only the moment of whatever arises to be as it is. The reality which can experience the object arises, so it experiences the object. But when it's not the reality which experiences an object, it cannot experience anything at all. Hardness cannot know anything, feel anything at moment when it's touched. See? That's why just understand life as it is, not permanent, by conditions. That's why learning about the conditions for each reality, for the moment of pleasant feeling, for the moment of memory, thinking about the past or about the future, it remembers, otherwise they can be thinking, and so on. Learn to understand a little more of the truth, that reality which is conditioned to be from birth to death, and then never be this personality anymore, because it's conditioned. What is there in this life? Condition what is there to be in future life. Because no one can stop the arising and falling away of each reality right now at each moment. So we call it life. But as long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it has to arise. For example, who knows what will be next moment? But there must be, for sure, because this moment is not previous moment and it's not the future moment. And when the future comes because this moment gone, it's there by conditions, unexpectedly. But it cannot be by will or at will at all, only by conditions. No one wants to feel bad, unpleasant feeling, sickness, and so on, but it's there by conditions. So there are so many conditions for everything to arise, and uncountable realities arising by conditions. Without condition, nothing can arise at all. Without the pleasant object, can the pleasant feeling arise? That's why just learn to understand the truth of what is there and have a little firmer confidence of the truth, to let go ignorance, no understanding of what is there at all. Take it for I or someone or something all the time. But is it I or anyone? It just arises to see, it arises to hear, it arises to think, and then gone instantly. Where is it to be taken for I? Impossible. Never arise again after it has fallen away. Each moment is that true. Learning to understand the different realities which appear in life, attachment, aversion, envy, ego, and whatever is there, stinginess, whatever is there, is different realities by different conditions, and then gone. But they can be classified by that characteristic, the unwholesome reality and the wholesome reality, and by different many aspects. By the enlightened one who realize the truth of the world, we use the world for that which arises and falls away. Without that which arises and falls away, how can there be any world? How can there be any moment to condition moment of life and world? So whatever is there, there can be the understanding from hearing, considering, from the enlightenment about everything, no matter what. And when there is the understanding of the truth of what is there, it let go the idea of I or something, because whatever is there gone instantly, never to return. And this life is short or long, depending on conditions. But what is there so very, very precious? It's moment of understanding the truth. Otherwise, just like living a dream, when it doesn't, no, it's not a moment of waking up. Who knows that it's a dream? So when there's no realization of the truth of this moment, just live in the dream of things and people and the world. Exactly the same. As if one doesn't wake up, there can be the idea of I in a dream, this person, and this event, and so on, like now. So no matter it's a dream or not a dream, what is it? There can be the beginning of understanding the reality which experiences the object, and the reality which cannot experience any object, no matter in what world. But that which experiences the object has many characteristics, different ones. That's why there is a chief of experiencing an object, and the reality which experiences the object, which cannot perform the function of experience as a chief. It has its own different characteristics, like attachment is not aversion. Pleasant feeling is not unpleasant feeling. Each one is different realities by different conditions. Is that true? Only that, to learn to understand the truth of each moment of life. And I think that the time is up.
Yes.
Yeah. ขอบคุณครับ